Okay, everyone. I think it's time. We'll start the session now. Okay, so let me begin with introducing myself. My name is Harish, and I'm from Career Launcher, which is quite obvious, I guess. So I'm a center head here. I have been in this training industry for almost 5 years now. So we have been doing this webinar for almost past 2 months, I guess. So every week, almost every week, we'll have webinars. So you can follow our social media pages to get to know when what sort of a webinar is going on so that you guys can register and you can attend it just like this. Okay, so enough about me. So let me just introduce you guys about our company. So Career Launcher, so it's a training organization. So we train students for a lot of things, like we train students for bank exams, SSC exams, GRE, GMAT, company placements, and all that stuff. Okay, so here's a short brief as to what is it that we do here. You guys obviously know those SSC exams, and if you guys want to study abroad, GRE, GMAT, it's quite necessary, right? So even for those GRE, GMAT, and not just that, even for company placements. So we have been tying up with a lot of colleges in and around Coimbatore. So we have been doing trainings now. So these are just the gist of what is it that we do. If you guys are interested in any of those courses, so please get in touch with us. You can also reply to us in the messages that you guys received, the WhatsApp number that you guys received those messages, and you guys can do that too. Okay. Now, to begin with, so as you guys already know, this particular session is completely on vocabulary. Okay. So my first question is this: why do you guys think vocabulary is very much important? Okay. Tell me, why is vocabulary important? If you guys have any ideas as to why vocabulary is important, please to give me your answers in the chat box. Okay, to develop your knowledge, obviously, that's a part of what is actually true here. Way to express our exact meaning to others. Okay, that's quite true. To improve your communication skills, you need a wide range of vocabulary. Communication, right? To speak in style. Okay, very good. To understand, yeah, that's important too, na? Not just communicating, you should also be in the receiving end too. Just to understand what others are talking, you should know a wide range of vocabulary just to understand what it means. That's true. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. That's so true, guys. Okay. See, the first thing I want you guys to understand is, see, vocabulary, when it comes to vocabulary, what it actually means is knowing a wide range of words and its meanings to stand out to the crowd. Okay. Yeah, David. Definitely. Yes. See, it is knowing a wide range of words. And how do we do it? I'm going to tell you or break it down to you how effectively you can do that. So, that is what we are going to do in this particular session. As simple as that. Now, to start with, I thought of starting with a small game. Hope you guys are ready for the game. So, here is what the game is going to be. So, this is not a new game, I guess. This is a small word hunt, which most of you guys would have already known. So there is a mixture of all these letters over here, in which there were 12 such words. All those 12 words were related to money. One such example that I've given is cost. Oh, capital. Okay, I want you guys to find out the other 11 words. If you guys have found out all the other 11 words, post it in the chat box. Interest. Yes. Revenue. Very good. Shankara, Nandakumar. Cash flow, interest, profit, loss, loan, revenue, interest. David, tremendous, man. That's awesome. It's definitely awesome. Were you able to see bank here? Hariran has said bank. Okay, we'll see. Guys, am I audible? Okay. Yeah, guys. Is there anyone who has completed all 11, who has found out all the 11 words? If so, post it in the comment. All the 11 words together. Yeah, guys, most of you guys are giving answers one after the other. What I'm asking you guys to do is give me all 11 words at once in the comment box so that I could see who has got all 11 at first. Totally, there are 12 words in this jumble, but I have already told you one, that is cost, which is highlighted here. All the other 11 words should be related to money. Yeah, guys, come on, make it fast. All 11 words put together in a single comment. All of you guys are giving me one after the other. I need all 11 in a single comment. Let's see who does that first. So I've got 10. I still have 10 only. No one has got all 11, huh? So you guys can compare these two answers and you guys can come up with the 11th one, I guess. Cool. Very good. Okay, guys. Super. Here's your answers. So these are the 11 words that you were able to see in this particular jumble. Yeah, definitely. Low is not related to money, which means you have mixed up with some other word. Okay, guys. Super. Very good. Done. Now listen here. We'll straight away get into today's topic here. Now, when it comes to vocabulary, okay, or in general English in itself, I hope you guys already know English is actually a derived language. So when you talk about English, okay, almost all the words that you guys get to see in English, or even the alphabets, for example, all those 26 alphabets, those are not the actual alphabets of English itself. Those are actually derived ones. Okay. So the same 26 alphabets are followed for different other languages too, if you guys know, for French, for Latin, okay, for Spanish too. Okay, so English is actually a derived language. And that is one of the main reasons why you get to see most of the English words which are which have its origin in different other languages like Greek, Spanish, and all that. Okay. Now we'll start with one awesome word that I got. Is there anyone who's ready to pronounce this word first? Anyone? Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you guys to do that one after the other. Okay. So the reason why I came up with this particular word is that this word is considered to be one of the longest words ever found in English dictionary. Pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. And if you guys have ever watched Spell Bee, so this was one of the words given where a small kid of age 7 or 8, he was asked to uh, pronounce it and at the same time was able to spell it correctly. Okay, this is considered to be the world's longest word ever found in English dictionary. Fine. Now, let's say if you guys are able to see this particular word, what I've done here is I've broke down that particular word into numerous pieces. Okay, pneumono. Let's say, have you guys heard of this particular disease called pneumonia? Obviously, all of us have heard about it. So, what does that do? What does that particular disease do? So what it actually does is it's a disease which affects your lungs. It's a disease that affects your lungs. Okay. Ultra microscopic. So I think this is quite obvious. Microscopic, it means small organisms or small particles. So that is what they mean. Silico. What do you, okay, I mean, where do you guys get to see this silicata? If you guys have been in your schools and in your chemistry classes, your professors would have told you already, I guess. Silica is a common material that you guys get to see in soil or sand dust, to be precise. Okay, so this entire word is actually a simple representation of a disease, okay, that affects your lungs because of the small silica dust formed from volcanoes. As simple as that. So this is what I wanted you guys to know first of all. Just because a word is lengthy doesn't mean, okay, it's very difficult to understand the meaning of it. Once you guys break down the words, a lot of words will make easy sense. Clear? Now I'll give you one more example. Hippopotamonstrossesquipedaliophobia. Okay. Obviously, the first word is something that I'm pretty sure most of you guys would have already known. Hippopoto. You guys would have seen that in hippopotamus. Okay, to begin with, the word hippopotamus has its own origin in different other ways. I'll explain it to you that too. The word hippo, okay, the word hippo, it actually refers to a horse. Potom, it actually refers to a river. So once they saw this particular animal, hippopotamus, they came up with this particular two root words. What was it? Hippo and potom. They combined it. Okay. River, horse. Hippo means horse. Potom means river. So they came up with a word called hippopotamus, which means water horse or river horse, so to speak. Okay. And monstrous, which means gigantic, big. Okay. And sesquipedalio, it's actually a Latin translation for measuring of a length, measuring of words or measuring of length, to be precise. Okay. So phobia, what do you mean by phobia? I really wanted to know. What do you mean by phobia, guys? Please give me your answers in the chat box. What is phobia? When do we use phobia? What does that mean? Fear of something, definitely, yes. So, fear of long words is called hippopotamonstrossesquipedaliophobia. As simple as that. Clear? So, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. Once you start breaking down each and every word, you'll be able to find out the meaning in most cases. Like I've already told you, English is actually a derived language. Okay. So a lot of words that you guys get to see in English have origins in different languages like Greek, Spanish. And it might also surprise you guys to see that a lot of English words, they have their origins from Indian languages actually. When I say Indian languages, I don't just mean Sanskrit and Hindi, even Tamil. Okay, our own native language Tamil has influenced a lot of words in English. To begin with, mulligatawny. And if you guys are hearing this particular word for the first time, I'm pretty sure you guys have already seen what it actually represents. Okay. First, I want you guys to understand this. See, mulligatawny, it is a word that represents a small soup sort of a thing that we prepare in South India. Okay. So we call it as rasam down here. Whereas when British people, they were ruling here, what they got to see was they saw this particular rasam and they didn't know how to pronounce it. They came up with a word. Okay. So they wanted to know how this was prepared. It was prepared using milag, pepper, right? Obviously. So milag, tanni, water. So pepper, water is what they came up with. So the name became Mulligatawny. And the next one, obviously, the kabaddi. Okay. Our own Indian sport, I would say. Kai Pidi was the actual word which got deviated to kabaddi. And now, Juggernaut. Is there any DC or Marvel fans here? If you guys are DC fans, so there is a character in X-Men. Very good, Krishna. Superb. Okay, so there is a character in X-Men. So the name of that particular character is Juggernaut. Okay, so before me giving you guys the reason for that and explaining to you guys what this particular word means, let me give you guys a small story from which this particular word was originated. Okay, so what happened was there is a temple called Jagannath Temple. I don't know how many of you guys know this. So this particular Jagannath Temple is known for its temple chariot. Hope you guys know what a chariot is. Okay, so it's known for its huge temple chariot. So what happens is during festival times, this particular temple chariot, it's supposed to roam around the entire city and get back to the temple. Okay, so during those cases, what happens is they did not have tractors in the earlier days. So what they used to do is they used to build long chains along with these chariots, and people are supposed to pull that chariot. And no matter what happens, this particular chariot is not supposed to stop anywhere. Not supposed to stop anywhere. So people will constantly pull it, and it will have one complete run around the city or something, and it will get back to the temple. Okay. Now, during those cases, what happens during this process of moving from one place to the other, there were chances where people used to get crushed under the wheels of the chariot. So as I've already told you, it was a huge chariot. Okay, so even the wheels are obviously supposed to be huge. So because of all these crowds pulling and all that, so there were cases where people got crushed inside those wheels. But no matter what happened, the chariot did not stop at all. Okay, the British people, they saw this and they were seriously shocked, I would say. So they wanted to come up with this particular word. So they created this particular word called juggernaut, which means unstoppable. No matter what happens, it cannot be stopped. Clear? So this is the actual character that we guys get to see in X-Men actually. So that's why I came up with this image. So juggernaut is a word which means unstoppable. See, rather than me telling you guys the meaning of this particular word, once you guys understand the origin of this, okay, what happens is whenever you guys see this word, you will remember the story. So obviously you'll know the meaning of it. So that's how this etymology works. Once you know its origin, it will be easy for you guys to remember the meaning of it. Yeah. Now, the most popular word that you guys get to see now, quarantine. So what do you guys mean by quarantine? Please give me your answers in the chat box. What does quarantine mean? I'm sure everyone knows, but I just want to see what you guys have a take on it. Isolated, separate. Okay. So that's the rough context, right? So isolating things, right? So I want you guys to understand how this particular word originated. Okay, in early 13th century, so this particular state of Croatia. So just like how we guys are facing this pandemic of Corona now, even at that time they faced the pandemic of a disease called Black Death. It's called Black Death. Okay, so what happened was just like we didn't know what is actually the symptom of this coronavirus initially. This Black Death also, they had its symptoms. It had its symptoms, but people who got affected by it, they will show the symptoms only after a while, just like Corona. Okay. So what they did was they planned to isolate everyone who comes into this particular state. Okay, from other states, if a person gets into this particular state, they have to stay isolated for 40 days, 40, not 14 guys, 40. Okay, that's how the word was created, quarantine. So the root word, quadrilateral, it refers to the number 4, right? So the actual reason why it was named as quarantine is because of the number of days you were isolated. It was actually 40. Okay. And in some places where it was 30 days, it was called as Trentine. Trentine. Okay, it was called as Trentine. So later on, what happened was quarantine became a common word which means isolating people, affected people from unaffected people, things like that. So that's how quarantine works. Yeah. And now malaria. Now, guys, listen. Malaria is a common disease which all of us have heard of and all that. So, what is this particular malaria caused by? Obviously, it's mosquitoes, right? So that's how we get malaria. But the reason why the malaria name got its name, the malaria disease got its name, is very, very simple. Have you guys heard of this particular prefix called mal, M-A-L? When do we use this M-A-L prefix? I want you guys to think of words which have this particular prefix M-A-L and tell me what does this prefix mean in the chat box. Function, malfunction. Nutrition, malnutrition. Doing something against, very good. Or something bad. It implies a negative meaning. Mal, it implies a negative meaning. Area, it actually represents air. So the word, it actually came up with a very different sense. So when this particular disease got spreaded, a lot of people actually thought this particular disease spreads because of bad air. It spreads through air, and because of it, people are getting diseased. So that's what they actually thought, and they came up with this particular word called malaria for that particular disease. But later on, they found out it is because of mosquitoes, but still, the word cannot be changed, right? Once it's named, they were not able to change it. So it's malaria still now. The cappuccino. Of course, all of us have heard of this particular cappuccino, right? Now, this has an interesting origin, actually. I don't know how many of you guys have heard of this particular Capuchin monks. You guys know monks, right? Just like our priest in our temples, they have monk. Okay. So, Capuchin monks are actually a type of monks. Within the Catholic origins, these are a type of monks. So, what happened was when this particular coffee was invented, a lot of people got to see the color of this particular cappuccino. So that's what stood alone for them. Okay. So they were able to compare this particular color with the capuchin's robe, the dress that they wear, those monks wear. Na? So they were, it was just like the robe's color. So that's how the word originated, cappuccino. It was the color of the Capuchin monk. Now, for the past 10 minutes, I have told you guys a lot about root words. I have used a lot of times this particular root words. So now let's actually get to see what this particular root word stands for. Root words are a particular segment of a word, I would say, which has a meaning on its own. So whenever you guys see this particular segment in any bigger word, so the entire word or a part of that particular word should mean the same root word. I'll give you a few examples. AUDI, Audi, it is a root word which has its meaning. The meaning of this particular root word is related to hearing, to hear. So that is the reason where you guys use this particular root word, audible, auditorium, auditory disorders. Okay, so in all these cases, these root words, whenever it is used, it is something related to hearing. The word bio, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know this already because this is how most of the biology teachers start their class actually. Yeah, biological, biology and everything. What does the word bio mean? What does the word bio mean? The word bio alone, stood alone. What does that mean? Bio. It is actually a root word, just like I've already told you. It means life. So that is the reason. Biology. It is a study of life. Logy means a study of something. Zoology. Not origin, it's just life. Simple life itself. Okay. Logy is a root word that stands for study of something. So that is the reason. Biology means a study of life. Very good. Now, graph. So once I say this particular root word called graph, most of you would think of drawing or the graphs that you guys have in our schools and colleges. No. See, graph is a root word which means writing. Okay, interesting, right? The word graph, root word graph, it represents to write. That is the reason you guys have this particular word called biography. What does biography mean? A person or a book written on a person's life. I guess you will understand now. Biography, writing on one's life. Autobiography, it's quite easy. A person writing about himself in a book. And the fourth one, the common root word that we guys get to see is LOC. Okay, it's a root word for location or a place in general. So that is the reason wherever you guys get to see this, in most cases, LOC, wherever you get to see this root word. Okay, locomotive, location, local. It is all related to place. Okay, and one more example I'll give you. Anthro. Anthro is a root word which represents the entire mankind, humans in general. Anthro. Anthropology, study of human beings. Okay, and not just that, I am anthropologist, definitely, yes. And apart from that, I don't know whether you guys have heard about this particular word or not. Philanthropy, philanthropist. So it has two root words in it: philanthropist, phil and anthro. Just like I've already told you, anthro. It means human beings. Phil, it means loving something. A person who loves human beings. So what does he do? He gives a lot of money to other people or charity. People who have a very good helping tendency are called as philanthropist. These are few examples. Now, the popular prefix and suffixes. How can we get into a vocabulary session without a prefix and suffix? Quite obvious, right? Now, the reason why the act of killing oneself is called as suicide is quite simple. Side, CIDE, it is a root word which represents killing, to kill someone. SUI, it's a root word for self. So killing self is the actual meaning of suicide. Okay. Pesticide, killing pests. Not just pest. When you say pest, it just doesn't mean insects, bacteria, or all the other pests in general. Infanticide. What do you guys mean by infanticide? Any guesses? Give me your answers in the chat box. What is infanticide? Yeah, guys, tell me what is infanticide? Killing baby. Very good. Children. Yes, yes, yes. Super, guys. Very good. Killing babies. Matricide. What is a matricide then? Of course, it's killing something, but killing whom? It's called as matricide. No idea. Cool, no problem. No. Matricide is a name given to killing mothers. When you kill your own mother, it's called matricide. And father, killing a father is called patricide. Sororicide. It's a name for killing sisters, killing one's sister. The last one, soricide, is a name for killing wife. So Nanda had killing husbands. So killing a husband and killing one's mother, they have almost a similar name, but they are different, obviously. But they have similar names. Like killing one's mother, it's called matricide, MATRICIDE, whereas killing one's husband is called, what is it? Anyone? Any guesses? MARITICD, killing brother. So we have one for offsprings, one for brother. We have a lot of things, guys. Not just that, we have a lot of things. Okay. So the reason why I wanted you guys to come up with this particular prefix is, see, prefix and suffix are very important when it comes to vocabulary. See, once you understand the prefix or a suffix, whenever you guys see that particular prefix, you could guess the entire meaning of that particular word. As simple as that. Clear? The next one, the common suffix that we guys see is gami. Okay, the word gami, it actually means marriage. Monogamy, mono stands for, what does mono stand for? One, single, very good. So mono stands for a single marriage. Monogamy, it means getting married once. Whereas bigamy, it means, second one, bigamy, double, yes. Now, getting married twice has two different names actually. Let me tell you guys. BI, the one that we guys get to see here, bigamy, and digamy, DIGAMY. So there are two different words called bigamy and digamy actually. Okay, bigamy is it means getting two marriages, whereas the second marriage is illegal. Okay, whereas digamy, DI, is the case where one gets married for the second time after the death or the divorce of the first spouse. That's called digamy. Gamy means marriage, like I've already told you. Gamy stands for, it's a suffix, stands for marriage. Monogamy, one marriage. Bigamy, getting married for the second time. Gamophobia, what is it? Give me the answer for the gamophobia in the chat box. Come on, guys. What does gamophobia mean? Fear of marriage, as simple as that. Or fear of commitment or a relationship, anything. Fear of, afraid of marriage, as simple as that. And the fourth one, gamomania. The word mania, it means obsession. Okay, extremely obsessed with something. So a person who is extremely obsessed with marriage is gamomaniac. That's all. Now, there are a few examples of mania and phobias. Ablutomania. Every mother that I get to see is ablutomania. So they are obsessed with watching, cleaning, okay, taking bath on time, every time. So that's called ablutomania. They are very much obsessed with cleaning. So obsessed with cleaning. Okay. Arithmomania. Have you guys ever used these words? Arithmetics. So it's associated with max, right? So there is actually a disorder. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard about this particular disorder. It's a type of disorder of OCD, obsessive disorder. Okay. So where you want me to repeat mania? Mania, it means becoming obsessed with something. Okay, they are obsessed. So ablutomania, as I've already told you, a simple example is your own mother, or in general, mothers. What do? They are very much obsessed with cleaning, right? So ablutomania is a obsession of cleaning and washing things regularly. Arithmomania is a disorder where people tend to count everything. So there are a lot of people who, let's say, for example, even while climbing the steps, they would have counted everything. Even when you're sitting simply in the cafeteria, they'll count the number of tables. So it's a disorder, arithmomania. They are obsessed with counting stuffs. Bibliomania, biblio, the word Bible. So books. A person who is obsessed with books is called bibliomaniac. Dinomaniac, dinosaurs. A person who's obsessed with dinosaurs. There are a lot of people who are still obsessed with dinosaurs. I don't know why, but it still happens. Yeah, egomaniac. I think it goes needless without me explaining. I hope you guys already know egomaniac. And graphomania. Guys, tell me what do you guys think graphomania means? Give me the answer in the chat box. Graphomania. You guys already know mania. You guys already know what does the root word graph mean. Yeah, writing obsession. A person who's very much obsessed to write something. So that's called graphomania. What is ablutophobia? What is ablutophobia? You guys already know what is abluto. What does abluto stand for? I've already told you guys in the mania, first one. The fear of cleaning, the fear of washing is called ablutophobia. Bibliophobia, give me the answer in the chat box. Bibliophobia. Guys, what happened? Fear of reading Bible? No, fear of books. Not just Bible, fear of books in general. So the term by biblio, it is a root word for all books in general. Okay. Hydrophobia. Come on, guys, it's easy. Hydrophobia. Fear of water. Yeah, true. Phonophobia. Any guesses for phonophobia? Fear of mobiles? No. Let's say phones, when they were invented, what was the only purpose of the phones? Able to talk and being able to hear. The word phono, it stands for hearing loud noises, hearing noises. Fear of noises, fear of sound is called phonophobia. Technophobia, fear of new technologies, which is something which all of you guys are supposed to have. Unless and otherwise you guys have it, you will not be able to learn new technologies. As simple as that. Photophobia, photons, light, right? The fear of light. Cacohydrophobia. So we already know what hydrophobia stands for. The word caco is a root word for bad. So fear of sewage water or ditch waters is called cacohydrophobia. Pantophobia. Pantophobia. Fear of everything. No matter what happens, I'm afraid of it. Okay. So that's pantophobia. Now, the next thing that I want you guys to see is the next concept that we are going to see is called mnemonics. So it's a technique with which we can remember words. So as of now, what is the technique that we have seen? Root words and etymology. Etymology and root words. How does that help me to remember words? Because once I know the origin of words, it is easy for me to create a story in my mind so that I understand how it got originated. So I'll eventually know the meaning of it. Whereas when it comes to mnemonics, rather than me explaining it to you guys how these mnemonics work, let me give you guys a simple example. Are you guys able to see all the 15 words? If I ask you guys to memorize all these 15 words in order, how long will it take for you guys? Just give me a rough estimation. How long will it take for you guys to remember all these 15 words in order? Come on, guys. Give me your answers in the chat box. How long will it take? It's complicated. Yeah, it is complicated. 3 to 7 minutes, okay? So within 3 to 7 minutes, you'll be able to memorize all these 15 in order. Okay. So what if I tell you guys, I'll be able to one day finish? Okay, fine. Yeah, that's the same for a lot of people, not just this guy. That is the case for a lot of people. What if I tell you guys, I will make you guys remember or memorize all these 15 words, okay, within a minute. Within 1 minute, I'll be able to make you guys remember all these 15 words in order. Are you guys ready? If you guys are ready, tell us. Just if you guys are ready. Yeah, very good. Yes, yes, yes. Super, guys. All you're supposed to do is create a story. Listen here. There is a clock. From that clock, a car comes out of the clock and it hits a building. The building is made up of sponges. So the sponges fall on a dog. The dog is eating a pizza. The pizza is next to sofa, and the sofa is made of diamonds, upon which you have an elephant which is eating an ice cream. Next to it, you have a bucket within which you have two hearts, and upon that you have balloons, and upon that you have a parrot reading a book. Let me repeat it. There is a clock out of which a car comes out. It hits a building which is made up of sponges. So the sponges fall on a dog. The dog is eating a pizza. The pizza is next to a couch or a sofa which is made up of diamonds, upon which an elephant is sitting, which is eating an ice cream. Next to it, you have a bucket which has hearts in it. Upon that, you have balloons, on which there is a parrot sitting and reading a book. Clear with the story? Now, tell me, guys, what was next to, let's say, building? What was next to building? Remember that story and tell me what was next to building? Sponge. Very good. It was sponge because it was made up of, listen, building, sponge. Now, what was the second word in the NTR 15? Second word. Car. Superb. Very good. Now, what comes next to elephant? What comes next to elephant? Ice cream. Ice cream. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Superb, guys. Very good. Superb. So now I hope you guys understand what this mnemonics stand for. Creating a story on your own so that you guys can understand something in a shorter time and for a very longer duration. Clear? Now let's say there is a word called petulant. Okay. Does that sound similar to a pet that you lend someone? Let's say there is a neighbor who has a pet on his own. Let's say a dog. Okay, he's going out of town. So you are renting or he's lending that pet to you. So what does that pet do? Will it stay quiet or will it annoy you? It will definitely annoy you. So easily being annoyed is called petulant. So once you guys create a story like this, it will be easy for you guys to remember. Let's say sanguine. Does that sound similar to penguin? Yes. So when a child sees a penguin for the first time, how will be the child's reaction? So it will be cheerful, right? So being confident and cheerful is the actual meaning of sanguine. Let's say ghastly. So it sounds similar to ghostly. So inspiring horror is called ghastly. So inevitable. Let's say you guys go to a dinner table. Okay, you guys go to a dinner to a friend's place or a hotel or something. Okay, let's say you have planned to make it this way. You are on a diet. You are planning for a diet. But what happens once you go there? Okay, there is food in every table. Okay, inevitable. So food in every table. So remember it like that. In every table. So when there is food in every table, can you avoid it? So no matter which direction you see, you get to see the food. So all your thoughts about diet is gone. So inevitable means unavoidable. Inevitable means unavoidable. Now, based on a lot of things that we guys have seen, let's try to solve a few synonyms. Okay. Malicious. Malicious. It does not have a prefix that we guys already heard about. MAL. It's a prefix. So what does that prefix stand for? It is generally used for something bad, right? So it is generally used for something bad. So even the synonym should be something bad. So it should have a negative intent to it. So let's take away all the positive ones. Benign, benefit. So benign is like benefit. So it's positive. Goodwill, positive. Favorable, positive. So what's your answer obviously then? C. It's spiteful. The act of creating hate or something. Now the next one. Nullify. What do you mean by nullify? Null means nothing. Nullify. The act of making something nothing. Okay. Tell me what is the answer for this one, guys? Invalidate. Very good. Superb. 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 Very good. Very good. Very good. Now, you're supposed to find out the antonyms, the opposites of the meanings. So, industrious. So, let's discuss this word first. Industrious. What happens in an industry? So, there will be a lot of machines and you're supposed to do a lot of hard work. Okay. So, the word industrious means hard work, doing a lot of hard work. Clear? Now, you are supposed to tell me the antonym of it, the opposite of it. Okay. It should be something related to lazy, not stupid. Very good. The answer is C, indolent. The act of doing nothing. In, do. Doing nothing. In is a prefix here. Clear? The act of doing nothing or being lazy is the opposite of industrious. Next one. Abstemious. Abstemious is just like, let me give you a situation. So let's say you guys are on a diet. So once you guys are on a diet, what do you guys obviously do? You tend to make sure that you have your food and water and all those eatables in a moderate way, right? So that's called abstemious, having moderate amount of all these eateries like that. Tell me what should be the antonym of it. Can it be temperate? Temperate, it actually sounds like it's just like moderate, medium, average amount. No. Okay. Haughtiness. So it means the tendency of showing dominance. I mean, haughtiness, it is a tendency of showing dominance. Reckless. Guys, is it reckless? No. What do you mean by reckless? Reckless driving. He drives recklessly. What do you mean by reckless? The act of doing something without having an idea as to what is going to happen, what is the result of it. Okay, that is called reckless. This is nowhere related to it. The answer is greedy. What do you mean by greedy? Wanting everything. Clear? Now, the other most important thing when it comes to your vocabulary is called as your miscellaneous vocabulary. One thing. Okay. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys would have heard about this homophones and homonyms and all that. But let me just give you guys a brief intro into it. So what is a homophone? Words having same pronunciation, okay, but they have different meanings in it. Let's say floor, floor, principle, principle, night and night. Hope you guys know the meanings of all these words, and needless to explain, I guess. Now, homonyms. What are homonyms? Words that are spelled the same and pronounced the same, but they have different meanings. Bear and beer, left and left. They have same pronunciation. Bear and bear. Park and park. So one is a noun, one is a verb. Parking. One is a park, like industrial park or things like that. IT park. Now, the other one is called as heteronyms. What are heteronyms? Heteronyms are words that are spelled identically. Okay. So heteronyms are the words which have identical spellings, but they give different meanings when they are pronounced differently. Wind and wind. We obviously know what wind is. What is winding? Twisting. Let's say wires are wound together. Okay, twisting or yeah, winding. Dove and dove. Dove is the past tense of diving, and the other one is a bird. Object and object. Hope you guys are clear. Now, it's a small question which I want you guys to solve. Let's say, not moving or being fixed in one place. What is the answer for this one? First one or second one? Stationary or stationary? Come on, guys, tell me the answer. The act of being in one place, what is it called? Stationary, N-E-R-Y. First one, A or B? Come on, guys, need more answers. It's a very simple question. Very good. Almost all have given me the right answer. So being immobile or not moving or being fixed in one place, it's option B, stationary, N-A-R-Y. And what about E-R-Y? Stationary, N-E-R-Y. Yeah, it's a shop where you guys can get your papers, envelopes, and all these stuffs. Now, let's get to the second one. A fight or contest between two people. Give me your answers. Come on, guys. Is it D-U-E-L or D-U-A-L? Okay, seems most of you have got it right. But the answer is D-U-E-L, the first option. Clear? So that's the fight or contest between two people. Cool. Now, praising someone. What does that mean? Out of all the given phrases that we guys have, come on, guys, it's easy. What is the answer for the first one? Praise. Is it complacent? He's praising someone. Let's say once someone does something good. What do you guys do? You praise him. What is it called? It's called a compliment, right? It's actually option D, but there are two options here. It's C-O-M-P-L-I-M-E-N-T, compliment. Done. Every 2 years, doing something every 2 years. It's called Yeah, I was pretty sure most of you guys would tell me C, but unfortunately, that's not the right answer. What do you mean by biannual? Which means something that happens twice within a year, twice within every year. Something that happens every 2 years, let's say once in 2 years. A few of you have told me it's yay. Guys, have you guys heard of this particular word, bilateral? Let's say there will be no more bilateral series between India and Pakistan. So India will never play against Pakistan in a bilateral match. What do you mean by a bilateral match? A match or an event involving two parties or two nations. That's all. Involving two bodies. That's all. So that has got nothing to do with it. The answer is B, option B, biennial. Okay. So let's go with word analogies. We are almost there. Okay. Word analogies. What do you mean by analogy? Let me give you guys a few examples here. There are two types of analogies actually. Let's say there is a relationship between liter and volume. The same relationship is between one of these four options. Tell me what is the answer. There is a relationship between liter and volume. Same such relation is between two such things in the option. What is the answer? Nandakumar has given me the answer. What about others? Liter is a measurement of volume. Same way, gram is the measurement of weight. That's all. Simple. The answer is option D. So this is one sort of analogy where you guys are supposed to find the pair itself, or the second type where you guys are supposed to find out the word that gives you the perfect pair. Come on guys, tell me the answer for this one. Store, shop. Option C, very good. Store is a place where you guys go for shopping, right? Restaurant is a place where you guys go for eating. That's all, where you guys eat. Very good. So there are a lot of types of analogies, cause and effect. Let's say if rain comes, you'll get to see flood. So if you guys do hard work, you'll succeed. So degree of intensity. So this is also one type of analogy. Let's say warm. And if it gets warmer, it's called being hot, cool, and cold. So degree of intensity, it intensifies. Okay. And the next one, part of a whole. Have you guys heard of this archipelago? A group of islands is called as that. Okay. Just like that, what do you guys call a collection of poem called anthology? Okay. Now same way. The next type of thing is doing. Let's say an action and a person who does the action. Okay. A person who postpones stuffs is called as procrastinator. Almost everyone is a procrastinator, right? Let's say when you guys have 5 days of exams, I mean 5 days of leaves for your exams, do you guys study right from the first day? You guys think, okay, we'll study from the second day, we'll study from the third day. You guys postpone things. Okay. So everyone is a procrastinator. A person who postpones things is called as procrastinator. Okay. So these are few examples. And synonyms, the meanings. Mean is average, old means aged. Okay, antonyms could be also a type. So general association. So where do you guys get to see flowers? It's in a vase. Whereas books in a library, general association. Generally, where do you get to see them? Now, I want you guys to give me the answer for this one. Artist, paint. Which of the following four options gets to have the same analogical pair? An artist, he uses paint, right? Same way. Very good. So Nanda has given me an answer. Sculptor uses clay. Super guys. Very good. Now, I think it is going to be difficult. This is a difficult question. I think. Let's see how many of you guys are able to answer it. Kiwis, New Zealand. A. Why is it A? Is it A or D? It's national bird. Okay, for if you guys think it's a national bird, because it is the national bird of India, Dodo is the national bird of Mauritius, and jungle fowl is the national bird of Sri Lanka also. So Krishna has given me the answer C. Tell me, why is that so? Why is the answer C? See, many would definitely tend to go with option A, thinking kiwi, obviously it's a bird. So National Bird of New Zealand is also kiwi. So most of us would tend to go with option A, but it's wrong. Okay, the actual logic behind this one is people from New Zealand are called as kiwis. C, because A, B, and D are similar, so obviously C should be different. Okay, very good. But let's get to see the logic also. Okay, just like how people from India are called as Indians, from China are called as Chinese. Okay, people from New Zealand are called as Kiwis. Okay, so even when we had a 5 day, I mean, 5 T20 match against New Zealand, where two of which got to have a tie, I guess. That's what I remember. So, Kiwis having a tough time was the headline. Yeah. Now, obviously, the answer is Australian Aussies, because Aussies is the term that we use to uh, describe people from Australia. Okay. What's the answer for this one? Memorized and impromptu. What do you mean by impromptu? Doing something all of a sudden. Very good. It's option D. Doing something with planning is called rehearse. And spontaneous, doing something all of a sudden. Right. And the last one is your idioms and phrases, guys. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys would have heard about idioms and phrases. Needless to explain what this stands for. So let's see popular idioms and the phrases. Born with a silver spoon. What does that mean? Born with a silver spoon. It's a popular phrase that we guys see. Lucky. Okay. In terms of what? Rich. Okay. So he has inherited a huge wealth, let's say right from his birth. So his family was rich. That's what they get to see. He's lucky in terms of money and things like that. Now, raining cats and dogs. What does that mean? Raining cats and dogs. Yeah, guys, tell me, what do you mean by raining cats and dogs? Actually, last day, I mean, last 2 days back, I guess, it was raining cats and dogs in Coimbatore. It means raining heavily. Okay, it was raining cats and dogs means it means it was raining heavily. Wet blanket. So obviously there is definitely one wet blanket in every gang, I would say. So whenever you plan to do something enthusiastic, let's say guys, let's go for a movie, let's go for a party and all that stuff. There is always one person in every gang who says, guys, let's not do that. Let's just simply sit home. Okay. A person who hates being enthusiastic, who doesn't let everyone else to be enthusiastic. Okay, that particular person is called as wet blanket. You should never be a wet blanket. Clear? So what happens when there is a wet blanket? No one comes near you, right? Obviously. A piece of cake. When do you use this phrase? It's a piece of cake. What do you mean by it's a piece of cake? It's a phrase. Obviously, it's a phrase. But what does that mean? A part of whole. Good guess, I would say. But no. No, guys. No, no, no. but it's definitely a good guess. A piece of cake is a phrase. Yeah, Ashant. Very good, Ashant. It means easy, very easy. Clearing EM2, engineering mathematics 2. Okay, was a piece of cake. Clear. Actually, it wasn't, but still, that was just an example. Cherry on top. When do we use this phrase, cherry on top? Obviously, everyone loves a cherry, right? So, in top of an ice cream, so just like how it is shown in the figure, it means giving a small good news after a very big good news. Let's just assume, okay, uh, CSK, it announces or it gives out a picture of the entire teammates, gives us an update in the evening. That's a good news. And to add a cherry on the top, Raina is in the picture. Hope you guys understood. Beat about the bush. What do you mean by beat about the bush? Let me give you an example. Let's say you guys do something mischievous and your HOD calls you guys to his or her room. Okay. Once he asks you, guys, what did you do and why did you do all this stuff? Will you guys explain it straight away? No. What will you do? You'll start with something else and you'll keep blabbering something else. And finally, he'll be like, yeah, very good. You'll keep repeating things and on and on and on. Okay. So that's called beat about the bush, beating around the bush, things like that. Not getting to the point. Bite the bullet. Very good. Yeah, that's an interesting one, I would say. Bite the bullet. Okay, so this actually has an interesting origin also. Okay, so in earlier days, where what is chloroform? Yeah, the painkillers when they were not invented. So during vaccinations and all, when they did not have chloroforms, and what people tend to do from army is that they will bite the bullet just to avoid the pain, so that they don't shout and all. So when there is they are vaccinated or they are getting treated and all that, if it involves vigorous pain, what they'll do is they'll bite the bullet, okay, just to cope up with the surgery. Okay. Now later on, this became a popular phrase actually. Bite the bullet. It actually means doing something which you're uncomfortable in doing, but still you have to do it. I'm biting the bullet. How was the max class? I'm biting the bullet. You're not uncomfortable. You're actually uncomfortable doing it, but you have to do it. Arm to teeth. What do you mean by arm to teeth? You're completely equipped with everything. Literally, you guys have nowhere else to keep all those, equipments that you guys have. So that's the state that you guys are in. So that particular state is called as arm to teeth. You're completely equipped with everything. Okay. So I think you guys can remember this particular phrase very, very easily. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have faced this situation where you tend to hold a lot of things. So, but at the end of the day, you don't have enough space in your hands. So, have you guys used your mouth to hold things, your teeth to hold things? But because I have done that, literally, I do that every day. Okay, so let's just say I'm supposed to move a lot of things. So what I do is I'll hold my phone in my mouth. I'll grab it in my teeth. Okay, so that's called arm to teeth. You're completely equipped with things. Bury the hatchet. What do you mean by bury the hatchet? Making peace with enemies. Making peace. Let's say you guys are about to fight, but the hatchet, okay, the hatchet, if you guys bury it, it's a symbolic representation that saying that I don't want to fight anymore. Let's make peace. Out of the blue. I think it's quite easy. What does this phrase mean? Come on, guys, tell me. Yeah, guys, what happened? Tell me, what does this mean? Unique? No. But good try. Good guess. Getting out. Out of the blue. Corona outbreak was out of the blue. Was an out of the blue situation. Corona was an out of the blue situation. Unexpected. Very good. Something that is happening unexpected, which you did not expect at all, but still it happened. So that's the situation. Being so you get shocked out of it, right? So that's called out of the blue. Out of the blue, this happened. It means it happens when you did not expect it to happen. As cool as a cucumber. Needless to say, Dhoni is as cool as a cucumber. A person who's completely calm and composed. So that's when you guys use this phrase. What do you mean by chasing your own tail? My manager asked me to do something, but I was chasing my own tail for the whole day, which means I did something for the whole day, but it was not productive. At the end of the day, I was not productive. Clear? So, guys, that's it. So, that's the end of the session. Hope you guys liked it. So, as I've already told you, so Career Launcher, we in Coimbatore, we take a lot of classes. We also take online classes right now. So if you guys are interested in any of the courses that we provide, let's say bank exams, if you guys are preparing for SSC, and if you guys are preparing for GRE, GMAT, and all that stuff, and not just that, even if you guys are planning to go come up with courses for your company placements, I'm pretty sure most of the colleges they have already started with this placement process. So even for company placements, we do train. And if you guys are in need of anything, you guys can definitely get in touch with us. And apart from that, as I've already told you, this is not a first webinar. We have been doing that for almost 2 months now. So if you guys want to know what is it that we do every week and what is the webinar and what is the topic on which we do the next time, please do follow us in our social media pages. You can get in touch with us either through Facebook or the WhatsApp or LinkedIn. We guys post every day, and not just about the webinars. You guys also get updates. Like if you guys are planning for bank exams, we'll give you updates every day. I mean, whenever there is an update, obviously, and not just that. Whenever there is a company starting its recruitment, we'll give you guys the pattern, and we'll give you guys an update as to what is going to happen, what sort of a pattern, what is to be expected in it, things like that. All those updates will give you. And even when it comes to SSC or GRE or GMATs and tips like what to do, how to approach, and all that stuff, we'll definitely give you guys. We are here to help you. All you guys are supposed to do is ask. So these are the ways in which you guys can get in touch with us. So follow our FB page and Insta page. Vocabulary uses for competitive exams. Of course, it is important. How else will you guys solve questions like synonyms and antonyms? Unless and otherwise you guys know the meanings of it. Let's say reading comprehension. Okay, you read a reading comprehension passage. Unless and otherwise you read, you know the meaning of one particular word. How will you understand the meaning of it, and how will you answer the questions? So vocabulary is important. Guys, listen. Vocabulary, it's like numbers for aptitude. Okay, vocabulary, it's like basics. Okay, just to survive, you need vocabulary. So how do you improve vocabulary? Like I've already told you, try to learn a lot of root words. Okay, I have hardly given you guys 5 to 10 root words. There are thousands and thousands of root words. So please do make sure you guys read a lot of it. So follow our pages. We'll give you guys one each every 2 days or things like that. But if you guys are still interested, so you guys can look into the lot of websites to get to know all these root words. And there is a book called Word Power Made Easy. If you are really interested in improving your vocabulary, it's also available online. Word Power Made Easy. Okay, so that's one good suggestion that I would do to all my students. Do you train for Infosys, CTS, and Capgemini? Yes, we do it, but it depends. See, as of now, we have been doing it in such a way that we go and partner with colleges and we train I mean, from colleges. We go to colleges and we train like that. But because of this situation, colleges have not started yet. So what we are planning to do is once we have enough strength, we'll definitely come up with Infosys, CTS, and Capgemini, not just Capgemini, even L&T Infotech. They've started their recruitment actually. So we are planning to do that. So be in touch. We'll definitely tell you once the batches start. Session was great. Are you starting any online batches this month? Yes, we are actually starting an online batch for bank exams. If you guys uh, have been in regular updates, have been searching for all these stuffs, IBPS clerk, they have announced their vacancies. So focusing on IBPS clerk, we are coming up with a batch which starts 14th of this month, September 14th. So it is going to be a comprehensive training program for entire bank exams, not just for IBPS clerk. It is going to cover all IBPS, SBI clerk, PO, and everything. So we are going to cover the entire syllabus. It is going to happen for 2 months. So it's a 2 months course. So if you guys are interested, you should definitely join. Any batch for placements? Yes, as I've told you, we are going to start a batch for placements. So get in touch with us. On 14th, we'll start a batch for placements too. So 14th, we are starting actually three different batches, one for placements, one for bank, and one for SSC. The 14th of this month. Any other doubts? Yeah, guys, you can also, not you can, I think you should give us your feedbacks for this session. The link is there in the chat box. So it is going to take hardly a minute time. So once you guys give us the feedbacks, we'll get to know what is it that you guys expect from us. So it will help us improve. So please give your feedbacks in it. So it is there in the chat box posted by CL co-host. Yeah, GRE batch. Yes, David, you're interested in GRE. Definitely we'll get to talk. I think we have already been in touch in WhatsApp, I guess. I'm not sure whether it's you or someone else. But David, if that's you, we'll definitely talk. Oh, so you are the one. No problem, David. We'll definitely talk. You are from KRC, I guess. Very good, very good. Yeah, I remember that. So I thought of talking to you after this session. So we'll definitely do it. GRE batch, we are definitely going to start. We'll do it. We'll discuss on it and we'll move things forward. Yeah, Fazil, what is it? Mania? What mania? I'm not sure. When will you start batch? I'm office. I'm not. I don't get you, David. You told me that you are a student of KRC. Do you work or are you a student? I don't understand. Oh, when will you start the batch in office? Is that what you meant? Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, a lot of students have asked us like, sir, when will you start the batch in office and all that. But I want you guys to understand one thing. It is not that we don't want to. We are actually dying to start the batch in office. But hope you guys understand we are not able to do it because of the government restrictions. Okay, so educational institutions and educational companies like us, we are not able to start. Okay, but very soon it will happen very soon. But as of now, we'll do this way. We'll start the online class, let it happen for a while, and then you guys can switch to the office session. That we can definitely make it happen. And also make sure you guys share this with your friends too. So you have given the feedback. Very good, David. Thank you. And if you guys have any other doubts, please do get in touch. That's my number that I've mentioned in the screen as of now. So if possible, share it with your friends too. So that's it. If you guys have any other doubts, tell me or else we'll end the session now. Thank you, Fazil. I'm sorry, Fazil, you were the one you were asking me something, but no problem. You can text me in WhatsApp. I'll definitely reply you. So this is also going to be in our YouTube channel very soon, within a day or two. If you guys like this, you can share it with your friends too. Okay, guys, it was nice talking to you all. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Bye. We'll end the session now.